and welcome to another episode of Four Guys Talking Sports, the podcast. My name is Luke Legrano.
I'm Ryan Hicks.
I'm David Acasella.
And I'm Lawrence Legrano.
Gentlemen, welcome back. Another week, another episode, a new desktop background, believe it or not. That'll be a recurring joke on this show.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's a new thing I figured I'd try out, you know? It's like how on, what show is that? Around the Horn, the guy has a new joke I figured I'd make a new desktop every week.
We don't think
Jackson this week, yeah.
We don't think that the Dolphins' first win of the season might have been more fun to show off than the Ravens' sixth of the season.
He's got a point.
I just think that there's a little bit of bias here. We could have done a split screen with the Dolphins and their first win over the shit stain of the AFC East. That's all I'm saying. That's my only point. It's fine.
Right. We've got plenty of time to talk about how bad the Jets are. It's in the rundown, my friend. Don't worry. I'll be right there with you. But we've got some other news we have to talk about first. So let's just cut right to the chase here. Ryan, I'm sorry. We said we wouldn't talk baseball anymore, but we have to. Carlos Beltran is the new manager of the Mets. Beltran played with the Mets from 2005 to 2011. He's got many accolades, a bunch of all-star selections, a few Silver Sluggers, a few Gold Gloves. But this is his first managerial job. So, David, take it away. What do you think of Carlos Beltran and how he's going to do in New York?
I think once we lost Girardi to the Phillies, this became a given. It was either him or Eduardo Perez. We talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago. And this was the right move. This was the right guy for the job with the pool of talent we were given. He knows the clubhouse, knows the city. And in the end of the day, they're just doing what the Yankees did. And it's going to be a top-down approach. The way that Cashman does for the Yankees is what Brody's going to be doing for the Mets through Beltran. Analytics are going to make the lineups. And realistically, he'll get to decide pinch hitting decisions. He'll be the Robert guy inside. He'll coach hitting technique, which we haven't had a hitting-based manager in a very long time, if you think about it. And for a team with a bunch of young hitters, that is an important thing for them to look up to that. And it just seems like maybe he'll get some bullpen choices, but that's probably going to go through analytics anyway. So I think it's the right move.
David, really quickly, when Brody and Mickey were making the lineups together and making all those decisions, was Brody really heavily involved in Mickey's decisions of things? Because I know Mickey came out, talked about how he didn't like analytics, and that wasn't the thing that he followed.
Involved, from what I've heard. I mean, I only hear what beat writers say. I'm not in the locker room, of course. But or in the meeting room, I should say. He was involved, but I think he'll be way more involved now, to the point where Beltran doesn't even get a vote in the lineup. Pinch hitting and bullpen decisions will have to go through him. But I think he will be handed a lineup on a given day. And that's how it's going to go. And we'll never bat out of order. I will promise you that.
Lawrence, what are your thoughts?
I think he hit the nail on the head. Once you lost Girardi, this is the guy with the highest ceiling. Everyone's trying to bring this ex-player to be a coach, and this guy's got the highest accolades. You just hope he gets an experienced bench coach and rounds out his staff with people that know what they're doing and have been around the game a long time. I think it'd be hilarious if we had a Terry Collins reunion in New York, and I think actually a lot of guys would appreciate that. Did you guys know that during Beltran's interview for the Mets, when the staff asked him who was the best manager he played for, he actually said Terry Collins. So I was shocked when I heard that, considering this guy's played for the likes of Girardi. And who's the other big manager he played for? I forget the name.
Willie Randolph's in that list too.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can really put Willie Randolph in the same category as Joe Girardi.
Put Willie Randolph. No, but I put him above Terry Collins.
Yeah.
Well, see, but that's your opinion, not Carlos Beltran, 20-year MLB vet and Hall of Famer's opinion. So right. I just hope he gets someone that's actually managed the game with him to guide him through the first year, hiccups, mistakes, etc., whatever you want to call it. But I think David's right. Highest ceiling, good with the press. He knows the city. We'll see. If the team's good, he'll be good. If the team's bad, he'll be bad. Right? I mean,
it's baseball.
Yeah.
Can't swing the bat for those guys, huh?
Yep. True.
I do think his knowledge of the NL game will go a lot further than Mickey's, because he had no idea what it was like to manage a game in the National League. It's a different game. It honestly is. It's the same sport, but it's played a different way.
Yep.
I really think that David's hatred of Mickey Callaway is up there with my hatred of Tom Brady.
I honestly don't hate Callaway. I just I don't think he did a good job. I don't have any ill will towards him. I don't think he's a bad person.
I think the two, this is outsider perspective, just kind of off the cuff reactions to this that I think is interesting with the whole former player decision is, one, does a former player at times have trouble transitioning from being a leader in the clubhouse and a player and being able to manage the clubhouse? Because I think there's a different approach, and you have to juggle different things when you're a manager versus when you're a player. You're one of them, right? It's easier for people to rally around you when you are going to battle on the field with them every day. When you have to answer to ownership and the front office, does your ability to be a leader in the clubhouse change? And I think that may be interesting is while he has been praised as this leader, right, from the Astros clubhouse, from those teams, does that change when he goes from answering to the front office and how that affects them? And the other thing, quickly to David's point about the analytics, is at what point does analytics do more harm than good? And I feel like at some point when you're a manager, you just have to have a feel for the clubhouse and know who's hot and who's going to be able to swing the bat at the right time. And while analytics maybe tell you not to play that guy, if he's feeling it and he's on a roll, at what point do you say no to the analytics and just play the guy because he's a hot bat?
To answer your question, Ryan, that's literally the only thing Mickey Callaway did. Mickey Callaway said in an interview that 90% of the time I'm going against the analytics because I can feel a guy. And look how the Mets turned out. So I'll leave that answer at that.
I'm not saying that it is the right decision at all time, and I'm not saying, and I think there's ones for both, right? And so the thing that comes off the top of my head is the game after Brock Holt hits the cycle in the postseason, Cora pulls him, right? And so that's the guy's hot, but at the same time, analytics was saying don't play him in that scenario. And I think you have to have a mesh of the both, right? Is that you just pull the guy who just hit, I think it was the first cycle in a postseason game. You pull him and they win that game,
I think.
Or World Series game, right? So like there has to be a mesh, and I think, or my fear from the way that David describes is, do you go from a guy like Mickey who is so feel to a guy like Beltran and now is going to be so analytics? Are you now just jumping from hot to cold and still struggling to find that medium? We'll see. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, it basically won you a World Series, did it not?
Yeah, you're right, and it did.
With a player or a manager that came directly from being a well-respected player in the league.
Correct. Yeah. But I don't think he was as elite as Beltran was. He definitely wasn't.
I don't think he was as good as a player, no, but he was a very well-respected player in the league. Same idea,
Fair.
Beltran's ability to swing the bat is not affecting anything here.
True.
His respect will, though.
And I think there's a benefit to it, too, right? Now you're going from a guy who understands it, and you don't have some guy who's just a business degree who's kind of worked his way into managing. There's pros and cons to both, and it's whatever the clubhouse. At the end of the day, it's however the clubhouse comes together, right? That's it. And the talent that's put on the field.
You guys hit it all on the head. Yeah, this is just a big guessing game at this point. We're gonna have to wait and see. Now, I could use my time talk and be a pessimistic Mets fan, but I'd like to be a pessimist about a different sport. So Ryan, here's what I think is a fair trade. We talked about our baseball teams. Let's talk about how bad my football team is. Does that sound okay?
Deal.
Cool. So the New York Jets have went and done the impossible. They lost a game to a team trying to lose. The Miami Dolphins got their first win of the season in a very decisive fashion against the Jets last week. There have been a lot of questions about the Jets since then, but Lawrence, let me ask you the big one. How much of this falls on Adam Gase?
That's tough to say. I mean, a lot, but the players didn't exactly play well enough to put themselves in a position to win, right? The Griffin touchdown callback is a huge momentum swing that Sam throws away because he is making dumb decisions because he's still a young 22-year-old quarterback, right? So you can't put that on Gase. So there's some stuff that we think about that maybe this guy deserves a little more credit, but at the end of the day, his game plan could not beat this team, which means he deserves blame.
So I'm going to come out and say this. So I think that generally When I look at coaches in New York that are new, I am not ready to can them right away. I didn't want to can Mickey after one season, even though the Mets could have been a lot better. I didn't want to can David Quinn after one season because it could have been a lot better. I want Adam Gase gone. And it doesn't have to be right now.
I agree.
It doesn't have to be right now. But
I agree with that
come
completely.
back next year.
That's where I thought you were going. I thought I was like shocked because I was like, "Oh man, Luke wants to keep Adam Gase." That's where I thought you were going with that. But he should be fired. He's had a bottom 5 offense in the NFL for the last 3 years. He left the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL to create the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL. I mean, it is mind-boggling. Like, someone cherry-picked this, which I thought was hilarious. But it was like Ryan Tannehill, when he's freed from Adam Gase, beats Marcus Mariota for the Titan job and is playing competent football. Matt Moore, freed from Adam Gase. Granted, Andy Reid is, kind of a monster of his own, but Matt Moore, freed from Adam Gase, playing competent football. Carolina is inserting Kyle Allen, playing competent football. Broncos started Brandon Allen last week. Get a win. Playing competent football. We are doing none of that with a roster who everyone believed had the talent to maybe get to 500. We're 1-7 after week 8. I get that this is the cakewalk schedule, but if this team is so bad that they fluke a win against the Cowboys that they clearly didn't deserve, and they've lost to the likes of Jacksonville and the Miami Dolphins, this guy deserves to get shit canned.
So, I brought up the positions that Damian Woody brought up in his video about Sam Darnold, the positions that are important that the Jets lack. The O-line, the pass rush, the quarterback. They're all terrible in the Jets. The O-line is laughable. The pass rush is non-existent, and Darryl Roberts and Jermaine Johnson look like two of the worst cornerbacks in the NFL.
Definitely.
With that said, I've never seen a more uninspired man than Adam Gase. And just the contradictory stuff. I'm not sure if we got the opportunity to talk about this, the 4 of us. But we know that after they got beaten down by the Patriots, one of the best teams in the league, Adam Gase came out and said it was embarrassing. Now, you go ahead and you drop a 2-score lead to the Miami Dolphins, who are trying to lose, and you say it's the NFL, you can't be embarrassed by this stuff. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Dog, I understand you're working with scraps here. You don't gotta remind me of that. But you gotta do something, man.
He's finally coming around and actually using injuries as an excuse because he refuses to take blame for literally anything he does.
And injuries are important. Injuries are so important in this scenario.
I get it. You just have to have a game plan that actually works. This guy clearly has no idea to use Le'Veon Bell because that's the only competent player on this offense, which, by the way, are fucking paper tigers compared to what they were last year. They added 2 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line, added a slot receiver, and the craziest running back in the NFL in Le'Veon Bell. And they're worse. They're worse. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
The big thing
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
That's all right. The big thing I want to touch on is those 4 teams you mentioned with competent quarterbacks. They all have effective run games. And like
this guy's
you said,
never had an effective run game.
Right. You added Bell, who he didn't want. You even got your old GM fired because of this coach.
Yep.
And he got to pick his guy, basically. And you added these linemen, and you don't have an effective run game. Who else's fault can that be besides the head coach?
It's crazy, man.
Ryan, get your jab in. Go for it.
I'm so mad at myself that I actually picked them last week to win a game. I will hear me. I will never bet on this podcast again that the Jets will cover a spread. And if I do, I want someone to bring this recording up. I will not bet your football team again.
Episode 9, ladies and
What
gentlemen.
an idiot! I actually bet. I have picked the Jets twice, and I've lost both times.
I picked the Jets twice, too.
Oh, my God. I'm an idiot. You have it on record. I cannot believe I picked the Jets twice.
From an opportunity to Ryan to make fun of us, and then he chose to make fun of himself.
And he went with self-deprecating humor. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It is honestly my fault. I have no one to blame but myself. I should have known that your team sucked.
Ryan, I'm so happy you brought up betting on the Jets because it's time for our predictions. So it's that time of the show. Let's pull up the leaderboard and we'll see how everyone's doing. David has moved back up to first with 26 points and a record of 15-6. Lawrence is back down to second place with 22 points and a record of 10-11. Ryan's still in third place with 19 points and a record of 9-12. And boys, I still may be in last place, but I'm only 1 point behind Ryan with 18 and a record of 8-13. So,
I know the standings are close, but we have to commend David for being 15-6 at this point. It is wildly impressive considering everyone else is now under 500 for the season. You like to bet at between 50 and 60% correct if you're going to do it long term, and this man is 15-6. So
sitting at a nice percentage.
Respect where respect is due.
It's about
my
70%, 71%.
David, have you won any money off of your picks? Have you put it down?
No, I live in Connecticut, so I cannot gamble legally.
All right. We are betting beard points. And with that said, David, start us off.
By the way, wait, another tangent. My beard looking great. I'm going to be really upset if I have to shave it off. Your
pretty
beard's
clean-shaven,
looking
actually.
terrible, so I better not lose this shit. So
I like being clean shaven, to be honest.
Yeah,
but I'm also
you're not going to
56, so yeah. And I got a haircut too, I'm all losing all the hair this week.
Yeah, I am straight lumberjack with the hat and the big beard right now. We're way too far into this.
It's winter is coming though, right?
There you go.
All right, so number one pick. I'll make this quick and easy. Baltimore Ravens. That spread is too small. They should be a 21-point favorite. Don't get it. The Bengals are awful. Move on.
All right. Nice and simple. Lawrence, go ahead.
I really don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to. My 1-point pick is going to be the Colts laying 10.5 at home against the Miami Dolphins.
It's not bad.
Is this team actually good enough to pull off 2 in a row? And I know that Hoyer's starting, but the rest of this team, Hoyer might not start. Jacoby Brissett has been limited in the last 2 days of practice.
Hoyer will start, but there is a chance Brissett plays. Knowing that it's an MCL strain, I don't think he's playing.
I don't think he's playing either, and that's what I was operating under.
Yeah, I would too.
So I just this team is so bad that only a team like the fucking Jets can lose to them. Let me tell you, the goddamn Jets. So I don't know if 10.5 is enough. They have covered the last 3 weeks, which makes me incredibly nervous because they get a big spread again. But they're on the road. The Colts are pretty good. I'm gonna take them laying 10.5. Book it.
Cool. Ryan, go ahead.
This is completely an emotional pick. If the Patriots fall and their undefeated record goes, so will San Francisco's. Russell's looking like an MVP pick. I'm taking Seattle at plus 6.5 at San Francisco.
All right, there you go. I'm trying to get a little swagger back. I think this is the 3rd or 4th week in a row that my 1-point pick has been taken before me. So I'm just going to point to my buddy Lamar here. And I'm going to go on with David. I'm taking the Ravens minus 10.5 at the Bengals. And now my pointing has ended. David, 2-point pick.
2-point pick. We're going to go with Arizona Cardinals. So I believe we're getting 4.5. That line may have changed. I don't know if it's has it moved?
Nope, 4.5.
No,
I thought you were saying it went up. So yeah, get 4.5 in a game. They should be a favorite. That's another simple. I don't have much to say. Tampa's D-line is the only good thing about their team, I think, and Arizona could definitely keep up with them offensively. So
I'm piggybacking, and that's my 2-point pick as well. Book it, and that's it. That's all I got to say. That's my 2-point pick. Thank you.
Funny enough, I ended up not taking that game, but I was thinking about taking Tampa. But Ryan, go ahead.
I do not think that Aaron Rodgers loses 2 games in a row. They're at home against Carolina, who has now officially said that Cam Newton's out for the season. I just don't think that Green Bay loses 2 games in a row, especially now with them going home. They're 5.5-point favorites, so all they got to do is get by a touchdown, and I think they can do it against this Carolina team.
Cool. All right. So I can't believe this is about to come out of my mouth because we've actually joked about this rationale on an episode of Three Guys Talking Sports before, and I'm actually about to use it. So I was watching the Michael Kay show this afternoon, and they had on RJ Bell, and he was talking about what pick he likes best this week. It's going to be my 2-point pick. I like the Cowboys minus 3.5 versus the Vikings. Now, the rationale that I'm about to discuss is we've all heard the stigma that Kirk Cousins doesn't play well in big-time games. don't focus so much on the big time and focus on time, because apparently RJ Bell did the math. Kirk Cousins sucks when he doesn't play at 1 p.m. And I know that's crazy, and I know we made fun of that on Three Guys Talking Sports. But apparently he did game-by-game analysis saying that he doesn't play well during night games. So if RJ Bell believes it and he's been doing super well this season, then I'm going to go in with him. That's my 2-point pick.
Yeah, that man gambles for a living, so he's not an idiot.
Historically, though, whenever I take an RJ Bell pick, he does really well on every other pick except for the ones I go in with him. So this is bound to screw me up. But
that's interesting, though. That's something Vegas definitely is not accounting for. Kirk Cousins' record at 8 p.m.,
Yeah. RJ Bell does. All right, David, 3-point pick.
All right, 3-point pick. This one I absolutely love. I'm taking Buffalo Bills getting 3. So the line may have changed, but I haven't looked at this today. You guys going wild. So getting 3 in Cleveland. I'm sure everyone's seen the picture of Baker Mayfield looking like he's going to break into Kevin's house on Christmas Eve all over the internet this year. So anyone that sends out the starting quarterback looking like that is not winning another game. Maybe they'll win another game down the road, but they're not winning a game against a playoff team who's better coached, not as talented, but has a quarterback that can throw the ball 80 yards whenever he feels like it, and an effective run game, and that the Bills have none of. I just don't see how it's not going to go in that direction.
Sorry to cut you off, David, but I'm assuming the reason you two are celebrating is because you both have the Bills. You know, David just got his first 3-point pick correct in like a month, right?
I did get 3 in a row wrong, and it was the Bills last week, actually, too, who I got it right with.
All right. Well, Lawrence, any other current commentary?
Nope, because I'm tailing him again. I hated it. If you watched the video, you saw me and Ryan, who I'm assuming also took this game, reacted to me, picked it. Because it feels like this team should not be a dog, even on the road, especially against the Cleveland team. And I can't agree with the whole pedo stash statement that anyone's sending out a quarterback like that. If you heard the story, it's actually because he said he was undefeated with a goatee and he shaved it off at halftime because he thought he wasn't worth it anymore.
I think that's incredible.
To be honest, it's not just the mustache, man. Like the whole... demeanor,
the trench coat, the disheveled hair. Oh, it's fantastic.
He looks like Joe Pesci.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Joe Pesci looks so much better than that.
That photo was absolutely outrageous. You're right. That photo was absolutely outrageous. So was this line. I'm taking Buffalo Lockett.
Ryan,
it makes me think someone doesn't know, or someone knows something we don't know, though.
Hey, listen, we all said this the last time we all took the same game as a 3-point pick, although it was that janky Seattle spread.
It was a squeaker. No, it was the New Orleans one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was close enough.
Yep.
Ryan, anything?
Yeah, I don't get how. We watched this Bills team. I watched this Bills team play the pass pretty close. I don't understand how they could go on the road to Cleveland and be 3-point underdogs. I just don't. I'm thoroughly confused. Now I get Kareem Hunt's back this week, but do we really think that he's gonna make that big of a difference? I don't. Not against this. I just don't. I don't know. I jumped all over this when I saw it. I couldn't believe they were 3-point underdogs.
I could do a better job coaching a football team than Freddie Kitchens, to be honest. And I exaggerate about these things a lot, but there's two of these things that I don't think are exaggeration. I can shoot free throws better than RJ Barrett, and I can push football better than Freddie Kitchens. I really, truly believe in my heart that I can do both of those things.
You know what, David? I think you could too. I believe in you. Well, I'm not hopping on this game, and I'm kind of regretting it a little bit now, but that's okay because that's what the fun of it is. So my 3-point pick, believe it or not, I'm taking a road favorite, kind of. Yeah, I'm taking the Giants -2.5 at the Jets.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be nothing but Giants fans. I think you're going to see Fireman Ed surrounded in a sea of blue. And I think they're just going to eat them up. I think this Jets team is so disheveled. I think they're such a load of crap, and they've ruined me to the point where I think Saquon is going to score at least 2, and Danny Dimes is going to come out in full effect and just show them who owns MetLife and who's going to own MetLife for the foreseeable future.
I don't think that's fair to the Jets fan base, though, dude. It's going to be 2/3 Jets fans. Come on. Because, you got to realize the Giants are also a miserable team, too. So what Giants fan wants to buy a ticket to this game?
David, I hope you're right. I hope it is 2/3 Jets fans, because when everyone starts booing them, they're going to play even worse. So I hope you're right.
I wonder
you're right.
I wonder what the line would be on Saquon 2 or more touchdowns.
We can find it for you.
That might be a pretty good bet.
Definitely can find it for you.
David's got a guy. All right.
No, I just have a DraftKings app.
All right, you live in Connecticut.
I can still view the lines, man.
True. Good lines. All right.
I got caught. Funny story, actually. I got caught in class the other day with DraftKings up looking at lines about hockey games I wanted to bet the other night. That was a tough look. Professor walked behind me. A professor. Yeah. We were doing a group activity and they walked right behind me. I had all the lines up. I was looking at parlays and everything. It was not great.
I do that all the time, man. It's all right.
Yeah, but the difference is you're running the classroom. I'm not.
No, I mean when I'm a student.
Oh.
He does that too, Ryan. He
grad school
does
classes,
a lot.
just like you.
You're right.
All right. That's it with picks. We're moving on. All right. So we're switching up sports to something we haven't done before on Four Guys Talking Sports. We got some news coming out of the Octagon last weekend. UFC 244 took place in Madison Square Garden, and it was headlined by the fight for the welterweight championship between champion Jorge Masvidal and the challenger Nate Diaz.
Okay, time out. I have to correct you there. It was not for the welterweight championship.
No, that wasn't a championship.
It was a gimmick title presented to the two of them by The Rock. Called the BMF chat, or the BMF title, which is actually relevant to this podcast if you listen to episode 2 or 3, whenever Luke thought he knew what badass motherfucker meant. Because that's what these two guys were fighting for. They were fighting for the baddest motherfucker belt in the UFC. That's what they were fighting for, not the welterweight title. Have to make that clear.
Ryan, laugh all you want, but I have the proof that all of you guys okayed it. I have the proof on my
We're off this. Talk about the fight.
You can't just
Talk
make fun
about
of me.
the fight.
Right.
We didn't know what your example would be, though, Luke, when we okayed it.
I gave you one. I have to. We're moving on. Okay. Anyway, the fight ended in controversy after Diaz took some nasty cuts to his face. At the end of the round 3, the doctor had to call the fight. It was cut super bad above, on his eyebrow, and on his cheek. It didn't look good. The doctor called the fight. Ryan, you got to see the aftermath of the fight. Do you think stopping the fight, even though it left a lot of fans angry, was the right move in the end?
Just
Yes.
for what it's worth, Ryan is the resident biology guy.
He's the only medical professional in this chat right now.
Yes,
or soon to be a medical professional.
So Ryan, take us through the anatomy. No, that's not the right word.
You know,
Take
it's
us through
ironic.
whatever you-
The physiology.
Okay, go ahead. What?
I will be dissecting the neck and face this upcoming week. So, and give me next podcast, I'll be able to tell you the anatomy. However, I think that this is very.
Podcast?
I think it's true. That's what I do.
I'm just like a couple credits short of my MD too. No big deal.
I wish I was getting an MD. I'd be paid a lot more when I graduate.
All right, regardless.
I think it's real simple. I think that 2 years ago they don't stop this fight. A couple weeks ago, a boxer gets knocked out and ends up passing away, which is super sad and unfortunate. And I think that the entire combat sports community is a little bit on their toes now. What happened to that boxer is an absolute tragedy. I mean, for everyone involved in that situation, you can't even imagine what's going through anyone's heads, let alone the boxer who threw the punch. With that being said, I think that the doc for this fight was a little more on his toes, and I don't blame him. So do I think it was the right call? As if you're in that situation, you're that doc 100%, because God forbid that something happens to Diaz too, and now a boxer has died, and God only knows what could have happened had Diaz taken one right punch to the right spot. I think that the way the combat community would have been viewed after that would have been even more tumultuous as it is now. Especially, I think a UFC fighter would have made a little more news than that boxer did. So as a fan, do I think it was the right call? I would have loved to have seen that fight go to the 4th and 5th round. However, all things in consideration and what has happened in boxing and MMA in the last month, I don't think the doctor had a choice other than to stop it.
I agree with that. In the moment, it's tough, right? Because Diaz is a tough guy. Hell, he's fighting for the BMF belt. This is what he does. He's a scrapper. The two of them are really, really, really seasoned fighters. So upsetting in the moment, yes. Hearing Dana White come out afterwards and saying that he was upset, but when he saw the damage, it was like, all right, this makes a little sense. That was comforting, but like Ryan said, you wanted to see this thing go 4 or 5 rounds. However, I think Diaz needed a knockout to win, so maybe that played a part in the decision to call the fight early. But great card overall, man. The event as itself was an absolute spectacle. I mean, the preliminaries, the early prelims on ESPN Plus, the prelims on ESPN2, and the main card, top to bottom, absolutely fantastic action. If you were a UFC fan, you happened to catch it.
All right. Now, before we move on, Ryan, do you actually know if there was any repercussions for the boxer that threw that punch that ended up killing the boxer?
To be honest, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything in the news about it since the guy passed away.
And the only reason I ask is because you guys know I love professional wrestling, and for anyone who doesn't know who Rey Mysterio is, his finishing move is called the 619, and what happens is he drop kicks the guy on the middle rope and then goes and holds on and kicks him in the face. Rey Mysterio, a couple years ago, actually, was going for the 619, drop kicked the guy. The guy hit his throat on the rope and then died on the spot. And then Rey Mysterio was convicted for manslaughter. Now, that's professional wrestling, so that's a little differently. But I'd love to see what happened to that boxer, so I'm going to do a little bit of reading into that.
Luke, this scripted. It's not real.
But
Wrestling.
But a man died.
So he had to mess up for that to happen.
Right.
Boxing is a fight.
Yeah.
You can't be held responsible for killing someone. It's your job.
Sure.
You're trying
I'm sure
to kill
there's
him.
language. You're right. I'm sure there's language that's much, much different from WWE contracts.
That's basically like getting injured on an acting set, as opposed to getting injured in a sporting event.
Yeah, but you can. They're still like, you can fight in the NHL, and people have been charged in the NHL before for things happening. Like they're not.
There's been criminal charges to NHL players for events and games.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What? It happened to Chara. Chara got charged when he hit. Oh, it might have been Pacioretty into the stanchion.
In what state?
It might have been in Montreal.
I'm not familiar with the Canadian legal system, so I don't know how it works there. But I couldn't imagine the state of Massachusetts charging a player.
And
it happened
to Rey Mysterio.
It might happen in the 90s too. There was a fight that happened, and someone swung their stick too, and they got charged with assault.
That is still outside of the realm of the actual game, though. This is part of the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Language has to be different, and we're all not privy on it. So
I'm sure.
You're right.
I'm
not up on the laws.
I'm sure we can all do a little more reading.
Something I'll look into, though. Good point.
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing about fighting?
Go ahead.
Absolutely hilarious how the boxing event that was going on last Saturday night literally held up the Canelo versus, I don't know the guy's name because it's not Canelo fight in the boxing world, and waited until Diaz Masvidal was over in the UFC.
Wow.
Because that's bad.
That's the difference.
I mean, this is the fall of the sport of boxing. I mean, it has been such a stable mainstay for so many years, decades, and UFC has absolutely jolted onto the scene and is kicking boxing's ass right now to the point where they won't even air their biggest name against this card, not even for a real belt. Unbelievable.
See, I don't think it's that crazy, and I think when you look at an event like the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, which was supposed to be like the fight, it was supposed to be a fight of the century, right, with the amount of hype that was, and it was an hour of Pacquiao, or an hour of Mayweather just dipping and dodging back and forth. So you could spend an hour watching someone with their hands above their face just ducking and dodging and throwing a couple quick jabs, or you could watch someone throw flying kicks and choke people out. Like, is it sad?
For 5-minute rounds.
Like what boxing was, 30, 40, 50 years ago, that excitement level just isn't there anymore. And now part of that strategy too, right? Like Mayweather made more money than I will ever even be able to fathom in my lifetime, right? Ducking and dodging. That's fact. However, if you're a fan and you're going to buy one fight, are you going to watch Mayweather duck and dodge for an hour? Or are you going to watch a couple fights of people who are jumping off the cage, throwing kicks that knock people out? Yeah, that's the world we live in. That is the state of how we live now. It's the most exciting thing.
Last two boxing matches I've ever watched were Mayweather-McGregor and Mayweather-Pacquiao, and I watched 13 UFC fights on Saturday. 13.
Those are probably the only two boxing matches I've ever watched in my life.
There should be a 30 for 30 on how Floyd Mayweather killed boxing.
Honestly, though, and here's my point. Would you say you watched the Mayweather-McGregor fight for Mayweather or for McGregor?
It was for both.
No,
it was honestly for both.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with him because they were both at the height of their fame. Maybe not Mayweather, but
I was about to say, I don't think it was.
That was the biggest organized fight in the history of the world.
You watched Mayweather when he fought. He was of that ilk. You know what I mean?
Here's my point. Why was it the biggest fight? It was because you had a UFC fighter leaving his comfort zone, right? Mayweather refused to even mix rules or do anything. And so now a UFC fighter who
he might have died if he did.
He went for
but that's what I'm saying is you watched it because
the guy was 48-0 though. You watched Mayweather back, dude. I'm telling you, 5-10 years ago, you were watching Mayweather when he was fighting. You were watching him.
When I was a freshman in college, the Pacquiao fight was a huge event.
Yes,
on campus, like there was tons of people were talking about it. It was a big deal.
Huge.
Oh, I agree.
The university, Quinnipiac University, sponsored watch party. I
did. You're right.
In a York Hill lounge area with a projector with 100 people.
I had no legal stream in my dorm room with 30 kids in there.
And I'm not. That's not what I'm arguing though. Right. That's not the point. And also the McGregor Mayweather fight was afterwards. Right. Yes. So now what I'm saying is right. So you have that big fight, and that was the last big boxing fight, and then you watch a mixed fight. And for me, I watched it because McGregor had left the UFC, and that was the storyline.
Yep.
Okay, fair.
I hear you.
That's the difference.
I think it was just the most popular fighter in both sports at that time, fighting each other.
For sure.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So we have some lightning round questions for you guys. So I'm gonna feature the question. I'm gonna try and
keep the lightning round, Luke?
What's the lightning round?
I've never heard of the lightning round on this show.
Well, Lawrence, I haven't given it a name yet, and I'm trying to explain how this is going to work. You continue to interrupt me.
You just called it the lightning round.
Just explain it. Just stop talking.
Ryan, you can't explain. I wanted to do this 4 minutes ago, and then you had another point. So
go on.
Basically, how this is going to work is I'm going to feed you guys some questions. I'm going to try and keep it to a minute. Feel free to say whatever you need to say. If you guys go on for a little too long, I'll stop you. We'll move on to the next one. So let's get it going. David, we're seeing LSU play Alabama in football this week, which are two of the biggest titans in the NCAA. Can you break down this game for us, and who do you have winning?
Looking at it on paper, I think this is the biggest regular season football game in the past decade. Before the college playoff rankings came out, these were the number 1 and 2 AP teams, but the college playoff committee believes Ohio State is the number 1 team. And that Penn State is the number 4 team, which, side of a little tangent, we have 2 different conferences in the top 4. 2 teams from the Big Ten, 2 teams from the SEC, something I've never seen before. And they are both playing each other in the regular season. So that's something really exciting to watch. But honestly, I got Bama winning just because this LSU defense is not elite. They do have better offense, but Bama's way better coached. And I've seen Nick Saban teams run LSU teams out of their own building. And probably better LSU teams than this one we're going to be seeing playing on Saturday. And Tua Tagovailoa is coming back. So it seems like a foregone conclusion that Alabama will be winning and becoming number 1 team in the land. But you never know, man. College sports, unpredictable stuff.
There you go. Ryan, David Pasternak has 30 points through 15 games. To put that in perspective, Nikita Kucherov has 17 through 15 last year. Ryan, do you see Pasternak catching Kucherov's point total from last year and 82 this year?
Luke, who gave you that stat?
You did. And that's why I'm asking you the question.
I think that there's a really good chance if Marshawn and Bergeron stay healthy and that line stays together all year. I think if one of those two gets hurt, his numbers will dip. I think if that line stays together all 82 games, he can pass it.
Perfect. Lawrence, the Rangers have found logic recently, picking up big wins against the Tampa Bay Lightning and Nashville Predators, but we've also seen them get crushed by teams like the Ottawa Senators. What in the hell is going on with Dave Quinn's squad?
Great question. Absolutely great question. I can't explain it. Some of his lineup choices have been questionable, to say the best. Kako's ice time's finally coming back. He looks like he could be legit. Georgie's getting the starts and then blowing one against Ottawa. Stahl sits and then comes back, and we don't sit Brady Shea. This guy, he has more line combinations than a slot machine. That's all I got. You never really know what you're going to get every night when you watch the Rangers. It's who's with who. Perrin and Strome look great. But other than that, it's pretty miserable when we lose to teams like the Senators, and pretty exciting when Phil Cheeto puts on a show and beats teams like the Predators. So I'm just gonna stay prepared to be shocked at literally anything that happens. My takes from earlier this season are hot fucking garbage, and we're gonna have some fun watching the Rangers this year become whatever they're gonna become because God only knows.
Perfect. David, college basketball is finally here. It started the other week. What team do you like early?
Oh man, that's a loaded question because college basketball really doesn't matter to the playoffs, because there's 64 teams that make it. But if I had to pick one, I'd say Arizona. They had a really good draft class, recruiting class, not draft class. Wrong level. And also Memphis is another team to look out for, which no one really pays attention to that little conference, especially now that UConn's leaving. But I think Memphis could be a real team forced to be reckoned with this year in the tournament.
David, did you love me some extra time? I'm going to ask you a question. You know I don't like to watch college basketball until I can put some money on it. But right. I saw some really exciting things out of Seton Hall's squad this year. Is this true?
Yeah, Miles Powell absolutely is a player of the year candidate. If you look at his numbers from last year, they were absolutely absurd, and he turned down being an NBA first-round pick to come back and contend for the Seton Hall team. They may be the odds-on favorite to win the Big East. I haven't seen any odds because it's not allowed for DraftKings and FanDuel to give you odds in New Jersey because they are a New Jersey-based college. And I haven't seen anything from Vegas because, once again, no one cares till the actual tournament. And we'll get odds on the Big East tournament when it starts for who's going to win it. But we'll see what happens. It's out of Emerenova.
Cool. All right, Ryan, as we discussed before, the Patriots took a tough loss against Baltimore last weekend, leaving the 49ers as the only undefeated team in the NFL. Does this loss take them off of the number one spot in the NFL power rankings?
Technically, yes, but because that's how the NFL works, but realistically, no. I think at the end of the day, one, Lamar Jackson's a baller. That the Ravens were the better team that night. There's no question about it. That was a rare game where the Patriots beat themselves. You usually don't see Patriots teams having neutral zone infractions when it's a 4th and goal that leads to a touchdown, fumble that leads to a touchdown on the other end of the ball. So Baltimore was a better team that day or that night, and the Patriots beat themselves up. With that being said, I would rather lose a game in November and let the Ravens take their team picture now. Let Bill Belichick see the offense once, then we go back and see them in the AFC playoffs, shut them down. And I mean, you're smirking, but at the same time,
there's totally right.
If there's one thing that Bill Belichick does right, though, like if there's one thing that Bill Belichick does best, if you beat him in the regular season, what you did in the regular season will not beat him in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, I can tell you this for sure, that if these two teams meet in the playoff, that dumb little picture that they took, the dumbest thing you could do against the Patriots team is give them bulletin board material. And for them to take a team picture after a Week 8 victory is unbelievable. And I can tell you this, that when they meet in the playoffs, if it happens, that will be on the front of every single locker in Gillette Stadium because the road is still going to go through Gillette to get to the Super Bowl. And Bill Belichick will shut that offense down because that's what he does best, especially if they get a bye and they meet in the divisional. That's how it's going to go.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, but I think it's worthy to note that this is the first quarterback under the age of 24 to ever be Tom Brady, which is impressive in its own. Yeah, however, this is a big deal. Ryan, you are 1,000% right. You are 1,000% right. He will kick their ass in the playoffs. Yeah. It won't be close. It's hysterical. You're right. However, huge moment for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
Let me tell you, Lamar Jackson is a baller. I mean, there were times where he had 3 guys around him, and I went to reach for another beer because I thought the play was over, and I looked up, and all of a sudden they were 25 yards downfield. I mean, the guy makes 2 moves, 3 defenders are by him, and all of a sudden he throws a dart downfield. I mean, the guy can play football. With that being said, Bill Belichick's a better coach.
I should have stopped the clock a long time ago, but I'm just going to say this, Ryan. I'm not smirking because I think you're wrong. The Los Angeles Chargers picked apart Lamar Jackson last year. What do you think Bill Belichick's going to do to them? I'm smirking that you think that a 24-year-old or someone under the age of 24 beating Tom Brady in the smartest football mind ever is laughable and celebrating that. I think that's what I was smirking at. All right, more lightning round questions. Lawrence, Steven Strasburg has declined his option on his contract and will enter the free agent market. Where is his most likely destination?
Washington. If no ifs, ands, or buts, they re-sign him. He's feeling the high. He goes down as a forever player there. That's what I think is going to happen. Will it? Who knows? but I don't think they still have Corbin under contract, right?
Oh, he signed like a 6-year deal, didn't he?
Yeah.
So they got 5 more.
Right now, I know their starting pitchers on staff are Scherzer, Corbin, Sanchez. I think they sign him. I think they forego a little bit in the field, but I think his most likely destination is Washington.
David, you
I
want to
think
say
it's going to
something?
be Philly. That's where he's going.
Interesting.
Make me cry. All right, and last lightning round question. Answer as quickly as possible. Lawrence, what time is it?
Mailbag!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mailbag. All right, well, before we get to your questions, we have our question of the week. Ryan asked, who is your favorite individual athlete? And unfortunately, Ryan, we didn't get a lot of answers in this question, and most of the answers we did get were players from team sports. We got Pete Rose. I think that just kind of sums up how people didn't understand the question. But we
That's a
understand
cool
the question.
answer.
Oh, but we understand the question. So let's go around for the four of us. Let's make sure this doesn't go unanswered. Ryan, start us off. Who's your favorite individual athlete of all time?
Rory McIlroy, PGA Tour.
Ooh.
I just think that he is the classic just golf guy, but I think he was also dominant. I just love the way he plays the game. I love the way he handles himself. I thought the best example of that was when he got absolutely blown up at the British Open, which was on his home soil, and handled it with class. He didn't pout. You see a lot of people just pouting and want to get the mics out of their face. He weathered the storm. He answered every question. He knew he wasn't playing good golf, and that didn't stop him. And at the same time, when that guy is on his game and he's hitting the ball well and he's hitting fairways and his short game's on, I don't think there's anyone better right now than him.
All right, Lawrence.
Win a major. Whatever. Sorry. Yeah, Phil Mickelson. Love that guy. He wins majors. Oh, God, I'm way off topic. This is a shill answer from me. This is a complete shill answer because I was a swimmer for a large portion of my life. I'm going Phelps. His Olympics, absolutely outrageous. I watched Worlds when he swam, for God's sake. I would literally turn on swimming when it wasn't the Olympics. And if I actually had the right mind to do that, it probably means something. Granted, I played the sport for a long time. It means a lot to me personally. It's a shill answer. It's a complete shill answer. Michael Phelps.
Hey, it's all right. Now,
I have watched NCAA swimming, if it makes you feel better.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So David's
I didn't want to admit it, but I did.
David's got a shock answer, so I'm going to save him for last. And that doesn't surprise me at all. David.
I don't know if it's shock. I just don't think you're expecting.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll save it for last anyway. So we talked about UFC already today, and my answer is the GOAT. And no, it's not Conor McGregor. No, it's not John Jones. It's Anderson Silva. The man's first fight was literally from before I was born. The guy's still going at over 40. The man, on more than one occasion, has fought on incredibly short notice, and he gives it his all every time. And no matter what you see him do, every fight is exciting. And to see him do it at this level for so long, for more than 22 years now, it's incredibly impressive. And I think he's my favorite individual athlete to ever play sport. Now, David, go ahead and woo us.
See, now it's going to be disappointing because he builds it up so much. So my athlete is going to be Shaun White.
Oh,
snowboarder.
Cool.
That's
Love that.
He's just he's somebody that I watched as a little kid, being a 9-year-old, I believe I was when he won his first gold medal, and seeing a teenager win a gold medal on the biggest stage for the United States and then do it again. It was something that he was someone I looked up to as a kid. And then to see him get injured and come back this past Olympics and do it even when everyone thought he couldn't, even as an adult, that was even more inspiring to me. It's just something that I think it's a great story. He's always represented the United States in the Olympics, done well, won every Olympics he's participated. Well, he didn't per se. He kind of participated in the one he lost. It's like a weird gray area. Not the point though. He also has the potential to become the only ever athlete to win a gold medal or any medal in both the Summer and Winter Olympics this upcoming summer, now that skateboarding is an Olympic event as well.
So just before we move on to actual mailbag questions, John Franklin wanted me to give his answers. John Belmonte, I think his name is. He's a bowler. Apparently this guy is filthy at bowling, and we didn't get a ton of answers, but Franklin asked me very hardly to share his answer. So bowling could be represented in our mailbag.
I'm gonna honorable mention Tony Hawk.
Who's the athlete?
I forget the first name, but the last name is Belmonte. He's a bowler. It's either John or Steve. I can't remember the first name. I wrote it down and I can't find it.
It's probably Steve.
Yeah, bowling. I'll get generic white names. All right, mailbag. We're gonna start on a light note. Let's get to your questions. Let's do a light note here. Emma Spagnola wants to know which sport game from the Super Mario series is the best.
Ooh,
Strikers.
Baseball. Oh, you know what? Shit.
See, I knew the two of you would say this. And I'm
It's
gonna go with
GameCube
Lawrence
version
because-
Strikers too, not that Wii version bullshit.
Without a doubt. No. No, we're talking. If we're talking Mario Sports, I feel like we're talking strictly GameCube. I don't know if there's anything else that can compare. Now, does kart count as a sport?
Oh, that's interesting.
Is that the NASCAR?
I wasn't thinking of that. I think I would still pick Strikers, but that is a huge game changer.
Yeah, I knew whatever anyone was saying. David was going Strikers. That was always his answer.
Strikers was my most played Mario Sports game of my last. When did I start college? 7 Oh dear God, 7 years.
Old.
Yeah, we knew that though. I mean, God damn it, I celebrated a quarter century on this.
Nah, hey man, I'm in my 6th
I don't feel
year.
good
You were
about
2
it.
grades ahead of me, so.
Shit. God. So
If it makes you feel any better, when I'm at my 7 year, I'll still be in college. So
cool. Cool. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think my gut says GameCube baseball though. That's the best one. I think I played Strikers the most, but I think that's the best one.
Ryan, are we writing you down for Mario Golf or?
No, to be honest, I didn't play a Mario sport game until I got to college.
Andrew Castiglia wants to know, is Brady Shea bad at hockey, or does Lindy Ruff need to be fired?
Both.
Yeah, both.
Can we say both? Lindy definitely needs to be fired. The defense is a wreck right now, and Shea is not taking the jump that you'd expect after giving a young kid with such promise a 6-year deal worth so much money. I am forgetting, but I think he's making in the $6 million right now, and it seems like highway robbery for him. They scratched him tonight against Carolina. They won the game. So, just saying, Stahl's not great either, but Lindgren is, so we should be playing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing so much good stuff out of the young guys at Libor, at Lindgren, and at Fox. This team has just so much.
Fox has been an animal. He's our best defender right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's so much dichotomy in this team where you have like your Zibanejad, your Panera, and your Fox, and then you have your Haleys, your McKeggs, your Shays, your Stahls. Brendan Smith is still playing on.
I said, more line combinations than a slot machine.
True, that might be the line of the night. All right.
That was
I think Libor Hayek has got to be like all-time Hall of Fame name too.
Oh yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's definitely a hockey name.
Definitely a hockey name.
Our next mailbag question isn't a question. Ryan, Jacqueline Schmiedel didn't want to ask anything, but she said that last week when she asked the question, she wants you to know that after you verbally assaulted her, she felt very uncomfortable and doesn't think that she'll be asking questions for mailbag going forward.
Ryan!
So, Ryan, if you maybe want to apologize on behalf of the show, we'd appreciate that.
I appreciate that consideration. On to the next question.
Doubles down!
Jacqueline, thank you for listening and for participating. 3 of us appreciate you. The original 3 guys talking sports are always big Jacqueline fans. All right, we're moving on.
I like you.
Jake Bullion wants to know, what NFL team under 500 has the best shot at making the playoffs?
Oh, I totally forgot to look this up.
I didn't think about this. Under 500?
Yeah.
The Steelers are 500. They were going to be the one.
Can we do 500 and above?
500 below, you mean?
Can I say the Los Angeles Chargers?
What's the Panthers?
Are they under 500?
Panthers are 5-3.
Damn.
Detroit, Arizona, Chicago are your NFC contenders, and Pittsburgh, Oakland are 500. Jacksonville, Tennessee, LA Chargers are 4-5.
I'm going Titans.
I would say Chargers I would say Chargers in the AFC and Lions in the NFC would be my two picks.
I would take Jacksonville in the AFC, actually.
I don't know what Foles is going to be, man.
This show's all about being bold, right?
Take the Cardinals.
No, I was going to take the Broncos. That just seems like a fun pick.
God, no.
Yeah, there's no Flacco. There's no Lock. I got Brandon. Yeah, it seems like a fun pick. Yeah.
All right, look.
This show's all about having fun, right?
All right, man. All right.
But I'm not putting money on it.
You got a point. You do. You got
Although
a point.
if you put $5 on it and they made it, you'd probably get pretty good odds.
It's true. Ryan's obsessed. Okay, Ryan, you need to calm down, my friend. I don't know what this show's done to you,
in a
but
state where it's not allowed to gamble.
That or move to Jersey and go broke. It's one or the other, my friend.
Yep.
all right. Chris Miranda wants to know, what does the future look like for Kareem Hunt?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
He's on a 1-year deal right now. He's coming back from suspension this week, right? I'm a Nick Chubb fantasy owner, so I'm a little tense. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little tense. So I think it depends on what he does this next 6 games. He stays out of the news. Yeah, I don't know. Could he be a starter for an NFL team next year? Maybe. Is he going to be a backup for a different NFL team next year? Probably. Can he win a starting job on a team that brings in a bunch of guys like him to compete? Yes, totally. I think it's completely up in the air. I have personally no way of predicting it. Could go a multitude of ways. He could take the job from Chubb by the end of the year, for all we know.
Possibilities are
Freddie
endless.
Kitchens is a nut. We've talked about that on the show already.
True. Possibilities are endless. If I had to pick what I think is going to happen, I see him doing minimal for the rest of the season. I see him signing a 1-year prove-it deal and a team like Houston that's just going to put him in some random scenario. And then he'll go sign a 3-year backup deal, and he'll be the next Lat Murray or Carlos Hyde. He'll be a really solid backup somewhere. And he'll do that for a while. So I think that's what we see at the Kareem Hunt.
I think he'll get a quarter of the carries in Cleveland, maybe less. But still he's so talented. He's going to break off some runs, And then who knows what he gets next year.
Changing Houston to Tampa. He's got a 1-year prove-it deal in Tampa. That's my new theory.
Tampa, interesting. He'll probably get a good deal somewhere and probably play well because he's not that old and he's still very talented.
He's going to have
He missed a lot of time. So did Le'Veon Bell, though. So, same idea.
He's going to have a quiet 2 weeks. He's going to pop off out of nowhere, have some crazy 150-yard game with another 75 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. All the hype's going to come back. He's going to be quiet for the rest of the season. He's still going to sign a fat deal in the offseason because of that one game. And then he's just going to be a very average quarterback for the rest of his career.
Running back.
Sorry.
It's all the same. All right. John Franklin wants to know, what does the future he wants to know if Robinson Cano's new haircut is indicative of the fact that he's given up on life. Have you guys
No, but I need to, I guess.
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay. So right now I'm going to throw it up on the screen while I show it to you guys. So we'll throw that up right now. And we're back. So now that everyone has seen the haircut, what do we think?
I just think it's awesome.
Awesome.
He went Grandpa Odell. I love it.
I know it's cliche.
Totally right, though.
I know it's cliche to use. I know it's cliche to use the example of the villain from the Santa Claus 3, where Martin Short plays Jack Frost. That's exactly what he looks like.
Did he realize he's older than Carlos Beltran and now has to have gray hair too to go along with?
Oh my gosh! Oh, that's brutal.
Is he older than Beltran? I don't know. Actually.
Well, how old is Beltran? I don't know. Beltran has to be 40 by now, right?
I think he's 39.
Well, yeah. Well, Cano is still young. Not by much. All right.
Not by much.
So, Robinson Cano's got funny head, just like he's really funny looking out in second base when he tries to play baseball. All right, moving on. So, Matt O'Hara wants to know, if the Jets get the number 1 overall pick, what should they do with it?
Trade it.
Ooh. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I think that makes the most sense, especially if you can get a king's ransom to move back into the top 5 from a Miami or a Cincinnati that wants to move up and draft a quarterback. Accumulate all the assets you can get. You can get an offensive tackle in the top 5. You maybe think about taking Chase Young at 1. It's going to depend on how the rest of the season pans out and the combine. That's the defensive end from Ohio State. Just because we need an edge rusher so goddamn bad. But best case scenario is they trade the pick, take an offensive lineman in the beginning of round 1, take an offensive lineman late in round 1, completely revamp this thing, starting from the trenches, like Joe Douglas has been preaching forever.
So no one's on the Jets take Tua train. We're all playing it safe. Okay, cool. Everyone's smart.
I totally agree with Lawrence. That
Perfect.
that O-line's got to be built, and that's the way to do
Yep.
it. Look at what the Colts did with the pick 4 Sam Darnold.
Yep.
You've spent all this time
took a
trying
guard of
to
a generation.
spent all this time trying to get Sam Darnold acclimated to playing serious football, right? You can draft a guy at 21, 22, and he's still not going to be ready for a couple seasons. That's just part of being in the league. You would just reset your entire rebuild if you drafted another quarterback. It'd make no sense.
Listen, the Cardinals already have more wins with Kyler this year than Josh Rosen, so that could be the model that Christopher Johnson sees, has googly eyes for, and then just be like, oh, fuck it, we can do it too. But I really doubt it.
And I don't put it past him. I don't put it past him.
No, I don't put it past him either. That's the issue.
I also don't think Kyler Murray's long-term in the NFL.
Totally fair. Russian quarterbacks, we still haven't really seen the downfall of those yet.
So
that's kind of a new thing. Yeah.
All right. So Dave DeVino wants to know our thoughts on load management in the NBA. Have you guys been seeing this? Ryan, are you caught up?
Yes.
I'm sure Dave's caught up. Have you guys been seeing this?
I saw the Perkins and the pair stuff, but I haven't seen.
So basically, the big deal was
Kawhi.
that it's Kawhi.
Okay.
Kawhi,
Yes, I've seen all that.
sat
Yeah.
Against the Bucks, which was a big primetime game. Kawhi sat against the Bucks because I heard this today. I forget if it was on the Michael K show or if it was on Colin Cowherd. Kawhi said, I'm pretty sure when he signed in LA, I'm playing 65 games max. Is what the rumor.
He played 61 in Toronto last year. This is not a new thing, and I think it's come up a lot because of the way RJ Barrett has been played for the New York Knicks. Well, obviously the main story is Kawhi, right? That is clear and evident. But I think it's the exact same thing that happened last year. The guy played 61 games for the Raptors. They won the freaking title. It makes total sense. He's an established NHL. Oh my God, he's an established NBA, not a vet because he's not that old. But I mean, the guy's got two titles with two different teams. Right? He's got two titles with two different teams. It makes total sense. The NBA is salty because their ratings have gone down because star players has come out of the game, which is a completely different argument than load management. Absolutely hilarious that beat writers in New York are calling out David Fizdale for playing RJ Barrett 42 minutes a game. Think it's absolutely absurd. Sorry, I just want to get the local point in real quick because it's been in the news. This kid is like 7th in the NBA in minutes right now. He's 19. He's a kid. He could take it. When they ask him, how does he feel about it? He was like, I'm good, man. I'm 19 years old. It's like, no shit. Play the kid. Kawhi, little different. MVP of the NBA Finals last year. Wins the title doing the exact same thing last year.
History of
Get
injuries.
over it. I'm sorry that it hurts your ratings, but this is the way that sports are moving. It is 2019. We are more safety conscious than ever. It's fine. I'm sorry that you put the Warriors on TNT for 30 games, and I'm sorry that when you get Clippers Bucks, they decide to sit the guy. Deal with it.
I've been saying on the show for years that if the NBA really valued competition, they would play 62 games, not 82 games. And there's reasons like this. Because Kawhi is choosing to play 61. And it also proves that the NBA regular season really has no meaning.
It's a joke.
And it's a 16 playoff, really. The top 3 seeds in these conference are the only teams that have any semblance of a shot to win a championship. And it's generally only the 1s and 2s. It's very rare that a 3 seed will even make that push.
And the game is so different now. Sorry to cut you off, Ryan. I'll be real quick here. The game is so different right now because we've strayed away from super teams. Now we have duos. Duos are now the thing. You've got KD and Kyrie. You've got Kawhi and Paul George. You've got no.
Okay.
Sorry, Dave. Not to shut down DeAndre Jordan. It's not what it used to be because we've seen super team.
No, you would agree. You think? Wait, time out. I hate that I'm like getting riled up about basketball right now. There is no shot that you can compare KD, Kyrie, and DeAndre Jordan to a trio, which is really a duo of Russ, Harden, and Clint Capella. You can't do it.
What about the
You
trio
can't do it.
LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, though, which won 2 championships?
But that's a different game.
But that's that. Yeah, right.
That was
that's
the first
point.
modern-day super team
You're right.
that we saw, though.
You're right. But that's to Luke's point, is that we're moving away from super team, and everyone is now duoing. You're seeing it in both LA teams. The Bucks don't quite have it yet.
The Bucks kind of have it, not really. You could argue if we wanted to get super technical. We could make a duo out of any. I could argue the Pistons have one. You got Blake and you've got who's the center?
Drummond.
Thank you. But that's what we have now. But we used to see those teams, Dave. We used to see the teams like Bosh, Wade, and LeBron. How many times did that Clippers team that had Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, it had DeAndre Jordan, it had Lou Williams and Pat Beverly. The depth teams, Eric Gordon, all those 6 guys and 7th guys, they got you far into the playoffs. And now they're going to have to rear their head again because depth is now what's going to have to keep it going. And depth's hard because, again, duos. Everyone's
when Brooklyn
splitting
wins
up.
a championship in a couple of years, I'm not sure you'll be saying that.
So I'm trying to find Jordan's stats.
I'll let Karis LeVert, pole vault into superstardom until that happens.
Because the guy coming off the bench is really that big of a.
Is he not starting?
Right? Not when KD comes back, he's not going to be.
Oh well, all right. Yeah.
But it's a different game.
Wait, I cut Ryan off, Brian.
No, you're good. I'm trying to find his stats from the season because I'm pretty sure his first 8 games he's posted absurd numbers.
Yeah,
because Badger put up 8 points in 2
I think
games.
he's
I'm not all
equatable
about
to
the
what
first
Bosh
game.
was back then, and Durant is definitely equatable to what LeBron was, and Kyrie.
Bosh all-star.
this
DeAndre
point-
Jordan not close.
I would say DeAndre Jordan's
not close though.
No,
He
not
isn't,
close.
What is it? How is he not close?
Yeah, but here's my thing.
He's
It's
not
fair. It's fair to say that, name-wise, maybe, and your expectation of DeAndre Jordan may be lower than how he's playing. But right now, you can't tell me that that's a trio. And
It's so early. It's so early, Ryan.
I think y'all.
And I don't disagree, but you can't tell me that right now Kyrie and Jordan aren't a duo.
Yes. Okay. I'm not going to agree with you on that because it's DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan was a Knick. I still had DeAndre Jordan play as a Knick. When it comes down to it, DeAndre Jordan's not that fantastic. He's old. He was a fantastic Clipper.
He's not getting paid. Yeah, he's not getting paid a lot of money either. He's past his prime. No knock on DeAndre Jordan. Serviceable NBA starter, mentor for the kids.
Absolutely.
This is not past his prime at that time, though.
Hell no.
But here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. If we're going to talk about Drummond and Griffin, Middleton and Giannis, and Kyrie and Jordan, Brooklyn's all the way at the bottom of my list.
Russ Harden. Yeah, come on. I mean, LeBron, AD. There are so many. This is going back to the trio duo argument.
There are a ton of duos out there, though.
We've made way too much of this.
It's true. We still have more questions.
Taxing.
So speaking of questions that are going to cause a little bit of thought, Matt Schindler is back with another trivia question.
Judge.
So Matthew the Judge Schindler wants to know if we can name the only players in NFL history with 30 sacks and 30 interceptions.
How many are there?
30.
There's 2.
30 sacks and 30 receptions?
Interceptions.
Interceptions. I thought you said receptions. Okay.
So I tried to guess one, and I was kind of close.
I'd be shocked if Lawrence Taylor was not one of them.
Correct. Lawrence Taylor is not one of them.
Rodney Harrison.
Yes.
Wow.
Rodney Harrison is the one that I did not get. I was not even close. The other one I was close to.
Is it a safety?
No.
Is it a lineman?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a lineman?
Wait, no, linebacker.
Oh, okay.
Brian Urlacher?
Nope.
Luke Kuechly.
Nope.
No, it hasn't been around long enough.
Yeah, you're right.
Ray Lewis?
Yes.
Oh, let's go.
So my guess when Judge texted
Ed Reed.
I thought it was only one person. I guessed Ed Reed.
Yep.
And that was wrong.
Yep.
But he told me I was close. So.
That's why I asked you if it was a safety, because I was going to guess Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu. Those are my first 2 thoughts.
Yep,
I knew Rodney Harrison. I didn't know Ray Lewis.
That's a cool question, though.
Yeah.
Last question from Mailbag. Tom Kamau wants to know our thoughts on whether or not, between higher taxes, the harsh media, and added pressure, is New York still a desirable place for free agents?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's about winning here. If you win
Does Kevin
here,
Durant not
you are
prove
a
that point?
legend.
So I was going to talk about Kevin Durant. I was going to talk about how we're probably going to see Garrett Cole in pinstripes. Even going back a little bit further, even though he's not a great player now, Kevin Shattenkirk was one of the most desirable defensemen in that free agent class and decided to come home for money. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as it used to be. New York used to be, the great place. You either went here or you went to LA, and now Boston's a thing. Smaller markets are a thing. People don't have Christian Yelich doesn't have a problem going from Miami to Milwaukee.
That wasn't his choice.
But I think obviously it still has an effect. We just saw KD do it, and KD is probably the biggest name in sports, arguably right now. And when Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in the MLB and he goes to the Yankees, that'll also be a big deal. But I just don't think it has Stanton as well. I don't think it has the same effect as it used to have, but I think it'd be not smart to say that it's not a thing anymore.
Or Teddy Panarin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's, if anything, gotten bigger because the media in New York's gotten bigger and everything's just, there's nothing like winning in New York, man. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Having to play
right.
the Canyon Heroes, like those are images that get cemented in time, They really do.
No, you're totally right. And I think to Tom's point is that we've seen so many people come to New York and just get ruined. And AKA any player to ever play for the Mets ever, just come here and can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, Carlos Beltran did though.
Couldn't handle it. But yeah, so we're all on the same page. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Before we sign off, David, you have our next question of the week. Go ahead and let us hear it.
All right. So this came from the debate of single players having the most impact in the outcome of a sporting event, team sporting event, of course, because that's what the whole idea revolves around. So, do you believe that a starting pitcher in a baseball game, the goaltender in a hockey game, or the quarterback in a football game has more impact on the outcome and score of that game? I'm not including basketball because I think basketball is hands down the most because one player is one of five. And the fact that LeBron went to 9 straight Eastern Conference championships, 9 straight NBA finals on 3 different teams already proves that fact. So that's why I'm leaving it to these 3 sports. So that's our cliffhanger. We'll leave it with that.
Perfect. There you go. So the question of the week is, which position has the most impact, the starting pitcher, the goalie in hockey, or the quarterback? And that's it. The mailbag's empty. So that's going to do it. All right, gentlemen. Loved having you. Thank you for listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, give us a like, follow us, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Make sure you don't miss episode 10. That said, thank you for watching episode 9 of 4 Guys Talking Sports, the podcast. My name is Luke Lograno.
I'm Ryan Hicks.
I'm David Axel.
And I'm Lawrence Lograno.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for checking out this episode. We will see you next time. Take care.
Spay new to your pets.